Hey, this is Pradeep with Sensatura, and today we are looking at some winter fragrances. Usually, the lead in goes by saying how the season is the favorite season of the year, but I must admit it's not the case for me, notably because the weather gets pretty terrible where I live, and as opposed to the famous talking point of cutting through the cold, I can't smell much of the scent outdoors, like half the time. Even if it's a strong fragrance from underneath all that layer of clothing, spraying some on the scarf or the hair helps a bit. Perfectly fine if I'm indoors, of course, but generally not the favorite time of the year for me with respect to fragrances, which I am sure many of us who have worn them every day can relate to. But we don't let that stop us, do we? So here I have 10 fragrances for winter 2024 in the actual list and also 2 bonus options in the end. So let's get started in no particular order. First is Arso from Profumum Roma. This is a piney, ambery incense fragrance, a style that has been done over and over again at this point, especially by American indie perfumers. They probably all have one fragrance in this style. I remember discovering this when I was looking for Serge Lutens Feminité, and at that time it was not easy to get. In fact, it was rumored to be discontinued before appearing again in the Gratte-Ciel bottles. Rumors are going around that they have also been discontinued. In any case, this is one that does this particularly dense pine needle backed by dark, resinous, balsamic, forest campfire kind of scent really well in the quintessential grand fashion of Profumum Roma. It works great, especially during cold evenings with its warm, sappy, camphoraceous facets, creates this sort of country home with a fireplace kind of vibe, turns woody, ambery and leathery in the dry down, as opposed to their linear offerings, one of the few multifaceted scents from the brand. Next, speaking of Serge Lutens, this is Feminité du Bois, my second bottle after I went through a 50 ml. This is the 30th anniversary edition, I believe, and it looks really nice. Prefer it over the new black labeled bottles. This is up there with the likes of Chergui and Ambre Russe for me as one of the monumental releases from the brand, composed of course by Christopher Frederic. This is part of their Touch of Woods collection, where they pair woods with another raw material, in this case plum and cedar. There are other notes, of course. This has that dry, woody, matte finish and the glass clanking, effortless amber, which are some of the signatures of Serge Lutens. Additionally, there's a lot of spices like cumin, clove, cinnamon and ginger, joining the plum and peach, creating this sultry outlook. It has some humanistic skin-like facets as well, giving this stewed, fruity odor, along with the boozy, mulled wine kind of scent. If you ever had a drink from a wooden cup, you will know exactly what I mean. Not sure of the extent it reinvented women's fragrances, as some say, but still such a marvelous creation from the brand. At number 3, let's do another woody fragrance. This is Amber Kiso from DS and Durga, composed by David Maltz. And yes, though it says amber in the name, it is probably the third main note for me. The prominent ones for me being the cypress and cedar wood combo and the balmy leather. This is a tribute to a ceremony in the Kiso forests of Japan, but the scent itself is quite modern, slick and has this metropolitan outlook, in some ways similar to Le Labo fragrances. There's a lot of incense and patchouli, adding this traditionally masculine, greasy, smoky, terpenic sensation, along with the cypress and hinoki wood. Maple adds some sweetness, becomes rather dry and dusty in the dry down. There's an unexpected iris note here as well, adding this dusty, woody scent. Transitions to a woody, leathery, balmy, slightly mossy scent in the far dry down, creating this urban yet ritualistic experience. Speaking of woody leathers, at number 4 is Gucci Guilty Absolute, composed by Alberto Morillas. Amber Kiso actually gets compared to this. This is a full-on industrial take on a woody leather theme. Lots of rough and tumble leather, dry vetiver and cypress with this butch, scruffy patchouli in the dry down with a hint of jasmine. It straight up smells like a recently cleaned mechanic's garage. Even reminds me of a lathe workshop from my university days. There is no finesse, nothing natural or subtle here, but once in a while it delivers. Probably the last edgy signature designer release. Next, at number 5, let's take a look at one which takes these rough and tumble elements but manages to balance it because of the precision. This is Monsieur Period from Frederic Malle, created by Bruno Jovanovic. This continues the theme of woods, incense, leathers, except with a massive dose of patchouli, 50% of the formula apparently. There's a huge boozy sunset cocktail accord in the opening with a combination of rum absolute and tangerine. Very ambre, woody and incensey. Some sweet vanilla and oak moss as well. I even sense the IFF amber extreme kind of smell, but it's so well integrated here that it does not bother me. The element of contrast here is one that I'm really impressed by. On one side, it is quite unapologetic, butch, greasy and medicinal. On the other side, it feels so polished, especially the patchouli, creating this debonair, sophisticated scent. It is one of the first bottles I bought from Malle and still to this day one of my favorites. Let's do an oud fragrance next. This is Oud Silk Mood from Maison Francis Kurkdjian from their Oud Mood collection. He did quite a few with the sketch of the original oud with themes of fabrics. Cashmere and velvet are discontinued. Satin is the more popular one, but I find that to have too much of candy floss sweetness. I prefer this for its balanced blend of oud, rose and the MFK signature Hedon and masks. It is also not as dense and sweet, feels a bit more airy and calming, especially from the chamomile note. This fabric-like textural feeling is beautifully created from the way the oud and rose are blended here. It is not dark, depressing or gloomy. It is more approachable and opulent and has this golden fabric-like sheen on top of its bouncy masks. Really great for evening formal events. Happens to be my personal favorite, not only among his ouds, but from the brand in general. Hopefully the new Absolu Pour le Soir can deliver. Let's do a fantastic designer fragrance next. This is Bel Ami Vetiver. This takes the muscular, spicy, bulky, smoky leather of the original Belami, which I really like by the way, and adds this aromatic, dry, woody vetiver with some contemporary refinement by Jean-Claude Ellena. I always kind of visualize this as an Ishikawa diagram, which is used to study cause and effect, with a connecting thread in the middle. Similarly, Belami has a lot of things going on at once. There's a prominent citrusy cologne component, spicy components from sage and carnation. It's also woody, ambre, and of course leathery. This, in some ways, kind of shows a magnet to those elements and realigns them, making for this fantastic flanker, which is on par with the original for me. Some even consider it to be better. Speaking of legendary leather fragrances, this is Antaeus from Chanel, composed by Jacques Bolge. This is quickly becoming my favorite classic masculine scent, and for someone like me who has more of a contemporary taste, I think the fact that it lends itself to be an accessory, a statement maker, rather than stopping with being a scent, is what makes it great, in my book at least. It has myrrh, a dark rose, lots of patchouli, all enveloped in this balmy leather and done with this classic lacquered finish. With trends going retro culturally, I think this has the potential to come back strong. At number 9 is Ambre Russe from Parfum d'Empire. I shall also highlight Ruade, which is another one from the brand I look forward to wearing, but it can be expensive and hard to find, so we are going with this one. The standout with this amber, crafted by Marc-Antoine Corticato, is the sparkling, effervescent, boozy opening it has from a champagne accord, after which it goes in the traditional amber direction. This is a leathery, labdanum heavy amber. There is in fact a Russian leather accord with birch, spicy and smoky from the coriander and incense. Additionally has this crackling, caramelized, almost cocoa-like immortal tone in there, which is one of the favorite raw materials of the perfumer, all drying down to this grand, bold, imperial amber, easily one of the best modern ambers out there. At number 10 is Havane from Les Indémodables, composed by Antoine Lee. This came up when I was discussing with some friends about what to wear for Christmas. Last year I was in Santal Majuscule, Noir Épice before that, and I think this year I would probably go with this. This one, as the name says, a sweet vanillic pipe tobacco with a prominent dusty cacao, all naturally extracted. There's a fruity, boozy, spicy sensation about it, creating this celebratory pain d'épices cake-like vibe. It is very rich, vivid. Everything we have seen in average quality in other fragrances is in high definition here, drying down to this ambre, leathery scent. It is fantastic for gatherings and occasions at this time, still being very likable. It is the best in its class for me when it comes to tobacco, cacao or vanilla. It is the most popular offering from this brand for a reason. Already 2 flankers, maybe even more in the future. Now the 2 honorable mentions because they are not easy to find. This is Sequoia from Comme, Garçons, created by Bertrand Duchaufour. It takes the signature incense opoponax of something like his own jubilation and turns them into this woods-heavy, boozy, sweet, modern composition in the style of Comme des Garçons. Lots of rum, leather and this damp Sequoia accord. Something in here creating this red dye-like smell, a bit spicy too. It was part of their red series for a reason. Just a superb woody scent, unfortunately now hard to find. Alright, last but not least is the mythical Dior Parfum, a leathery, thick rose oud overlaid on the original, which I have not worn for a long time. Plus, it's back in conversation now because it seems like after years of speculation, change from 75 ml to 100 ml and limited distribution, it might as well have been discontinued. Can't find it anywhere online in France at least. The Dior boutiques have some bottles, but it's not looking good. The other reason, which has fueled the speculation, is the rumor that Francis Kurkdjian is redoing it for a potential release in 2025. I guess re-releasing half a dozen fragrances already was not enough for him, including for his own brand MFK. I thankfully have a couple of more bottles, so I thought I would just finish this one off. So there you have it, my list of fragrances for winter 2024. And as always, thanks for watching, take care and ciao.